Okay, guys, I have a confession. I'm on a losing streak. Over the Christmas Day holiday, I lost about 15 units. This was after a very successful Tuesday, the previous Tuesday, where I had won 17 units. So after things have gone really, really well, things have gone on the opposite end over the last few days. Does it suck? Of course it does. Am I giving up? Am I completely changing what I do? No. And that's the point that I'm going to make in the video today. Hi, Shoop Sports. And I want to ask you a few questions. Are you at the highest level with whatever you want to achieve in your life? Do you wake up doing what you want to do every day? You probably answered no to at least one of these questions, or you wouldn't be watching this video. And saying no to these questions is 100% okay. It means that you have goals. It means that you want to become better than what you are currently. And that is a very, very good thing. The problem is, while it's good to aspire to become better than our current selves, oftentimes it's never going to happen as soon as we would like it to. So, in today's video, I'm going to talk about impatience, or the inability to delay gratification, is what is killing our gains, whether it's our sports bets or our careers, the gym, our personal life. I'm going to use examples in sports betting primarily, but will apply in all situations. But when I'm saying gains, I'm not just talking about, gains in the gym or anything like that. I'm talking about gains to your wallet, your mental health, your overall satisfaction in life, your gains in life. So let's go over three principles that describe why impatience is killing your gains. But we're going to start with principle number 0, which doesn't count, but it's to see things through. So watch to the end of this video. Anyway, principle number 1, stop going for the big win all at once. So in sports betting, one of the most popular bets placed by casual bettors are parlays. Parlays allow bettors to increase their betting volume by rolling over the wins of one bet immediately into another bet. The key of parlays is that every bet within that parlay must win in order for the whole bet to win. The allure of parlays is it allows someone to turn a little bit of money into a lot of money very quickly. So like on a bet with minus 110 odds, you need to bet $110 to win $100. But if you took 4 bets with minus 110 odds and parlayed them, you would only need $8.14 to make the same $100. Sounds great, but the obvious caveat here is that hitting 4 bets at once is way less likely than hitting just one bet. So although you're increasing your chance of winning more money, you're decreasing your chance of winning entirely. So the biggest problem with parlays is that it doesn't really reward overall good strategy. So if you find 4 really good bets and you parlay them, and 3 out of the 4 bets win, you're going to end up winning $0 despite making some good choices with your selections. But if you bet those same 4 bets straight up, you would have made money. You would have profited from winning 3 out of 4 bets. But yet, people will continue to bet parlays because they don't want to risk too much money at once. However, the illusion of potentially winning once in a while on these parlays will cause these bettors to make parlays over and over again. So these small losses of whatever they're placing, if it's $5, $10 on a parlay, over time is going to add up. And even if they win a parlay, all that's going to happen, or all that will lead to, is that person trying to place more parlays because they think that that is an effective strategy to make money. And no progress is truly ever made with their bankroll and their winnings in sports betting. It's common to want to find shortcuts for all your problems in life. You want to lose weight. Truly best way to lose weight is to slowly eat a little bit less and less every day until you're used to a diet that has less calories in it. But people will try to have this perfect eating day, check all the boxes, make all this great food, don't eat the wrong things, blah, blah, but they're not used to what they're trying to accomplish, and it ends up becoming more of deprivation. And then they're going to completely wipe out their progress because when you deprive yourself, you're only going to want the thing that you are depriving yourself of even more. Feeling down? Well, you can take drugs, drink, play video games, find ways to escape. But the pain that you're feeling from feeling down will eventually resurface once your distraction, whatever that distraction may be, is no longer there. Rather, tackling the pain head on, feeling your emotions, it's a much better way to deal with the pain, but most people don't want to go that route because it's more difficult. It's a process that takes time, whereas those short term pleasures are instant. To get results, you got to understand everything worth having takes time and effort. You're not going to get there in one swing. And even if you do, it's not going to teach you what you really need to sustain that success over the long term. So then let's get into principle number 2, which is understanding how to handle the bad times. So in sports betting, most common way people lose large sums of money is by chasing losses. It starts out with somebody placing a bet, whether it's a huge bet, with lots of money on the line, or a bet, that they're just really confident in, and they're watching the game and the ball tips the wrong way and they just get a bad beat at the very last second, lose by a half point, or, they just bet on something that they were wrong about, but they bet too much money that they thought they were going to win. Whatever the reason is, when we lose these kinds of bets, we get this feeling inside that we had something and that it was taken from us. And now we just lost that money and we need to go get that money back. So what do? We take that same amount of money that we lost and put it on a different bet. Usually a bet that is the first one that we can immediately find and one that will get us our money back the most immediate. So generally, the bets that we're placing when we're chasing losses are not good bets. But they're also bad bets because the money that we're placing on these bets to try to make up the money is usually a figure that's outside of our bankroll or more than we usually put on this type of bet. The problem is twofold. If we lose, we're just putting ourselves in an even deeper hole. And now the only way to get that money back is to chase even further and put even more money down, or accept the loss and deal with the pain of losing 2 bets, one of them being one that you should have never placed in the first place. But you could also win that bet, win back your losses, and then get the illusion that chasing your losses is a good strategy because you can always make it back. This will only lead to a bigger downward spiral down the road when you realize that you could easily lose 4, 5, 6 in a row. And now you're in such a deep hole that you can't even come back from. And your entire bankroll is wiped and you have to start from zero. So chasing losses is going to screw you over no matter which way. So never do it. But I understand that the feeling comes up from time to time when you want to chase losses. You like losing on a bad beat, like a buzzer beater or play that didn't even matter, or losing a game you thought you'd win. It all hurts. And it can be tough to deal with, especially if you're a beginner and you haven't experienced much of this pain before. So my first tip is to avoid watching the bets or the games that you place bets on. It's easier said than done, but reality is you won't be able to change the outcome of the bet just by watching it. The outcome is going to be the outcome regardless if you watch it or not. And I know the thrill of the sweat, seeing if your bet's going to hit, it's exciting. But the downswing of emotion from a loss can cause you to make dumb decisions like the ones that I discussed before. I highly recommend placing bets, then going and doing something completely unrelated. That way you can take your mind off things and make it something that you're actually interested in doing. It could be going out with friends. It could be, playing a sport, working out, watching a movie, really anything just that's not watching your sports bet. But if you do want to watch a game, I do recommend not betting on it or putting very little on it, or you just got to go into the game with the mindset that it is what it is with however your bets end up. That last one, the mindset switch, it's not something I recommend unless you're very experienced at it and you've been through the circus before, because it's way easier said than done. But you have to keep in mind that you have to separate your sports fandom from your sports betting. Now, tip number two. So, when you do feel this strong emotion, you know, it might be unavoidable. You might be out at a bar with friends trying to enjoy yourself, trying to avoid the bets. Your friends want to go to the sports bar. You say yes. You don't want to leave the group. You see your score on the TV. You remember what your bet was, and now you're hooked. And then, your bet ends up losing. You might be out drinking, whatever it is. Like something might trigger you to chase losses. So here's what you do in that situation. You got to close your laptop. You got to put your phone down. If you're out, you put your phone on airplane mode unless you absolutely need it for an emergency. If you must leave whatever event you're at, basically call it quits for the day, whatever you're doing. If you're really feeling a strong emotion, just head to bed, call an Uber if you're out, whatever you need to do, get out of the environment that's making you want to chase, go to bed, remove yourself from your phone, put it in a different room, and then focus on figuring it out tomorrow, whatever your bad loss was. When you wake up in the morning, you'll come with a much clearer head. And you'll also realize that you'll be grateful that you didn't put money on a bet that was unnecessary. Chasing losses just doesn't work. And it doesn't just go for sports bets, but there's ways that you chase losses in real life for different emotional situations. Walking away from any emotional situation when things aren't going right is probably the most powerful thing you can ever do. Letting your emotions take over can cause you to do things that you would rather not. But giving yourself permission to think about whatever happened can lead you away from making those bad decisions. You probably know that you shouldn't eat that piece of cake if you're trying to be on a diet. But if you heavily desire eating that cake, just trying to avoid it will make it worse. Instead, understand, it's okay to want it, but I'm going to go take a walk first, and then once I come back from the walk, then I'll see if I want the cake. And then after you go for that walk, if you still want that cake, well, at least now you're making a conscious decision. It's not an impulse decision. Overall, it's going to lead to a more healthy mindset when it comes to whatever you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to erase a bad habit, taking the time to think about it, even if you fail at what you want to do, giving yourself that time to think, well, eventually you're going to realize, well, I've made this bad decision multiple times now, and I want to stop making that bad decision. So I'm just going to stop making that bad decision. That goes with everything, but especially sports bets. Once again, never chase your losses. It is a bankroll killer. Last principle, number 3, you got to look at things with a long-term mindset. So I just discussed the importance of dealing with losses. But what about wins? When we win, we feel on top of the world. Nothing can go wrong. We become biased with whatever decision that we made that caused us to win that bet. We think it's because of our own great ability, but a lot of times all this will do will lead us to worse decision making in the future when we think of our victories too highly, when we put them on a pedestal. Of course, you should celebrate the victories that you achieve and allow yourself to feel accomplished, but you got to also understand what got you to the place of winning. Was it through luck? Was it through your own great strategy? Well, whatever it is, you got to settle down and identify what got you to your big win. From there, you can see if it's a strategy worth repeating, or you can take your lucky win and run away with it. And as an example, so on my 17-unit winning day last week, one of the bets that I placed it on, it was a Cal State Northridge to win versus UCLA. Their money line was a positive expected value play. And it was a long shot bet, but I put a pretty good amount, like half a unit on it because of how wide the odds were. I had a good feeling on it. It ends up winning. It was like a plus 980 bet. It was the craziest single straight up bet that I've ever hit. And that bet alone helped skyrocket my bankroll. But I'm well aware that I'm not going to hit plus 980 bets every single day. I did use strategy to get myself there, but I I know I can't just keep duplicating it. I just took the win, just kind of ran with it, and understand that losses can happen in that way too. Look, I see far too often on people on Twitter winning huge bets and now thinking that they're allowed to go big on all these bets or that they're betting experts. It's a quick way to bring yourself down to where you had originally started at. Whether you win, whether you lose, you need to expand your time horizon to define your success. Your wins or losses from a day's worth of betting don't really mean much. From a week, it means a little bit more, but start looking at how did I do over the month? How did I do over the last 2 months, 6 months? How did I do over the last year of betting? That way, when you do have those losing days, you can put it into a little more perspective. So, me losing 15 units over Christmas Day, Christmas Eve hurts, but grand scheme, I'm up way more units than the 15 units that I lost. And I'm also aware that the next few days I can easily turn around and make profit as long as I stick to a strategy that's gotten me to those winning days. So if you focus less on the day's results, you'll come to find that you're more successful than you think. Back to the losing weight example. Losing 1 pound in a week probably doesn't make you feel like you accomplished much. But if you do that over 10 weeks, that's all of a sudden you lost 10 pounds. 20 weeks, 20 pounds. And this is, whatever your goal is. But essentially, consistency trumps everything when it comes to setting and achieving goals. All I have to do is keep consistent in my strategy, and I'm going to maintain profitability. Because as long as I'm not going overboard and betting these crazy amounts trying to get some wins back from losses on the day, my profits are going to keep going up based on the strategies that I have, which I have discussed in other videos, but I'm going to leave the strategies out of this video. This is more mindset. So anyway, ask yourself, what are the things that you can do to start being more consistent with your sports bets today? Look at your bet tracker, which you should hopefully have if you want to be a good sports bettor. Look at your bet tracker, identify your strengths, identify your weaknesses, and find a small thing that you can do that you can start to incrementally get better results. Look at the times of day that you're placing your bets. Do I have more success placing bets at this time of day versus this time? Am I doing better on player props over point spreads? Am I doing better at NBA over NHL? Whatever it is that you're finding success in, try to double down that strategy and try to eliminate any strategies that aren't making you money. And I guarantee if you look at your bet tracker, you can find some ways to improve. And, bottom line, you do this with sports betting. You try to make incremental gains and look at your success from a long-term mindset. It's going to translate into other areas of your life. You're going to start to see that you're going to take more care of things like your body, your career, your mental health, your love life, all of that. You're going to look at it with more of a long-term mindset because you're not worried about having a bad day. You understand that having a bad day is part of the process. You got to look at the overall picture to see where your life is heading. So anyway, that's going to be it for this video. And I really appreciate you hanging with me, just moving into this new apartment, getting things set up. So we're going to have a nice little studio in here very soon. But until then, I wish you all success in the upcoming new year. And if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.